Being in my late 30s with many possibilities, what is stopping or preventing you from dating? I won't lie, I have been single for quite a while by choice, but for some reason, being around other couples my age and hearing their constant complaints makes me not want to date. I mean, they're arguing in public over trivial matters. Update. I have read many comments and apologize if this question has been asked repeatedly. Some made me laugh and others I empathize with completely. Thank you for being honest. Story 1. Going through heartbreak and low self-esteem. Edit. Since people keep commenting, the girl I was with later realized she is a lesbian, previously thought she was bisexual. This made me question everything about the relationship. Story 2. Just haven't found the right one. I have a pretty active social life and know how to approach women respectfully in person, and I supplement that with dating applications. Just been unlucky. In the meantime, I am staying focused on working to be the best version of myself. Dating and romance are important to me, but not so much that they distract me from personal growth. Story 3. I work 60 hours a week and attend school for engineering. I don't mind dating someone who is okay with a busy person, but it is hard to find that at the moment. People who complain about their partners are just venting. It happens. Their stories do not reflect what will happen in your life. People talk to each other about the ups and downs in life. It is friendship. Story 4. Simple. I have no influx of new women. I need to meet new women to be able to form a relationship with one of them. But that is the problem. I cannot. Not because of me, but because of the situation. What are the places where single women around my age are? Absolutely no dating sites. I am not going to that pit of despair again. In real life. I want in real life. I am failing before I start. Typical for me. Story 5. I feel I am not in a situation to be dating, and I am not willing to put a woman through being with me right now. I will be ready when I am ready. Story 6. I'm 35 and haven't had a serious relationship in about 8 years. I flirt and chat constantly, get phone numbers and hang out, but anytime I start thinking about a relationship, it's always very one-sided in terms of effort and responsibility. It falls on me for everything. That's fine when it's just casual hanging out, but I want a partner who puts in at least a little effort and shows that I'm more than just someone they choose to spend time with. Story 7. I am single because I wasted my youth being addicted to pornography, masturbation, and cannabis. I was an antisocial recluse, aside from my immediate friend group, and never learned social skills. Now I am 37 and have yet to have a long-term relationship. I am lucky if I have sexual intimacy once a year. Women do not want to be with a man my age who has little to no experience. I am stuck in a catch-22 of needing experience to gain experience. Story 8. Living solo is completely by my choice, and honestly, I love it. I think being single is the real win, though most people won't admit it. Whenever I feel tempted to explore the other side, dating or relationships, these are the thoughts that always come up. I've seen how badly dating and marriage can impact a man's mental health when things go wrong. Lately, many relationships are failing, even after 10 solid years with women who once swore he was the best thing ever. The couples around me rarely seem happy. Most relationships look like more stress than they are worth. I've lost the desire to have children. Even if I hadn't, women in their mid-20s usually aren't interested in having children right away. That would likely mean marrying someone younger, just starting out, who hasn't fully embraced the career-first mindset. Many women these days seem to carry deep resentment toward men, or at least that is the vibe I often get. Many people have lived wild, sexually liberated lives, and I haven't. I would rather be with someone who also rejected that wave of thinking. Honestly, if my wife ever left me, I don't think I could handle it. The delete button would be pressed on my life, and with modern values, it feels like some would even want that outcome. I saw comments during Men's Mental Health Awareness Month that said they hope our suicide rates increase. I stay away from that. So, all things considered, staying single keeps me peaceful, grounded, and safe. Story 9. The fact is that no woman who values herself would want someone like me. Knowing that, despite the world, seeing my best qualities as just what is expected and not what earns someone's affection, and many other things. Story 10. I have never been picked, I guess. My family and friends do not understand why I am single, and neither do I. I just turned 31 last week. I am an Air Force veteran, in very good shape, multilingual in Chinese, Japanese, and English, 6 feet 2 inches tall, and 200 pounds. I would say I am a decent guy, very confident and secure in my own skin. I have used dating applications for about 8 years and have never gotten a match that led to a date. I spent my entire 20s getting ghosted. Took me a while to learn how to be social. I was not social in high school and I ended up dropping out of college, so I missed a lot of social development during that period. When I joined the military, my goal was to put my life together and create a stable foundation, which I did. Even during that time, I was not social. I did some light swiping on dating applications, but I lacked the confidence in my early 20s to approach someone I liked and ask for their information. I separated from the military in 2020, just as the lockdown started, which affected social skills and development worldwide. I did some light swiping during this time, but I was mainly focused on finding new employment and enjoying my time outside the military. Now, in my 30s, I feel like I am hitting my stride, but I still have no luck with women. I have been intimate exactly once, and that was after 4 months of effort. Another problem is that I am pickier than I was in my 20s. As I age, I find women in my age group less attractive. The narratives portraying men as evil and predators are an instant turnoff. I do not want to be blamed for the actions of others when I have done nothing wrong. Additionally, I am into health and fitness and put effort into maintaining the standards I had while in the military. The increasing obesity and physical and mental health problems among women my age are enough to convince me to stay away. What I do know from my international travels and a prediction from a Chinese language teacher during my military service is that I have much better luck in Asia. I was able to get dates in Japan rather easily, so I plan to focus my efforts there. I want to be in a relationship. I have seen how beautiful it is for two people to go through life together, sharing precious moments and building something meaningful. I want that. However, I feel that because I have no experience at my age, I will be rejected by an ever-increasing pool of women, which will not help my efforts. I am a positive person and do my best to maintain a positive attitude because that is within my control. However, the loneliness of being single is very strong and unhealthy. Story 11. I am an introvert by nature. I dislike the dating process, and my social life has suffered due to multiple relocations for the sake of my career. Story 12. I have been cheated on multiple times in different relationships. Seeing others in cheating relationships makes me believe that cheating is more common than rare. This applies to both men and women. I have seen people I considered good men and good women cheat. I have always believed that if you are unhappy in your relationship, you should work on it. And if that does not help, then leave and find someone else after ending the relationship. However, many people find someone else first and then leave. I am 50 years old, and I no longer believe people are capable of monogamy. Story 13. I have not been interested in dating because I had to deal with some injuries and complications in life. I have most of them sorted now, so I will probably start being open to being approached for dating again soon. Story 14. I do not have much of a social life, so I do not get out often. I am currently trying to change that and hopefully meet new people that I enjoy being around. Story 15. Ugly, boring, poor, obese, and generally uninteresting. Once you reach a certain stage of loneliness with no friends or relationships, everything becomes pointless. It feels like a grayscale wave has washed over your life, and there is nothing left for you. I struggle to find anything enjoyable, and honestly, everything feels terrible. I am just a hollowed-out husk, and no one wants to date or even be friends with me. Story 16. I don't have options. I very rarely meet women because I refuse to use dating applications and social media, and I am a bit too reserved to approach women in public. This means that the only women I meet are through friends. That amounts to just a few women a year, and even then, one still has to catch my eye. Oh, and I forgot the hardest part. They also have to like me back. Story 17. I am 38 years old. I never learned the game. I became addicted to escorts because it seemed freeing in a sense. It also appeared to be cost-effective and time-saving. I would not have had all the adventures I have had, including traveling to different countries. Story 18. I have given up. I have been mostly single all my life, not for lack of trying. As a high-functioning autistic person, forming connections with people, especially with women, has always been like trying to push a boulder uphill. It never happened organically. Now that I am middle-aged, it is clear that my future does not include a family or a life partner. Story 19. I am around 40 years old and have never had a girlfriend. I have been on many dates, but I never really liked the woman enough to pursue a physical relationship. Usually, they told me they did not think I was interested in them or that I was not assertive enough. I have gone on dates, but the women I can get dates with do not appeal to me, and the women I am attracted to likely would not be interested in me, so I stopped trying. I made one last effort by losing 150 pounds, but that did not really help. I still never saw any interest from women, even though I am around many of them. Anyway, that is where I am. I really think women are not interested in me. It is no big deal. Story 20. Most of the women I have dated have been horrible. I think I am just really attracted to terrible people. Story 21. At the moment, I am not pursuing a woman who is interested in me because my mind tells me she will dislike my quirks, habits, smells, and general behavior. Story 22. I am 32 and have been single for a few years. I have been in the talking stage a few times but always encounter the same problem. When I feel lonely, I convince myself that I want a relationship. However, when I enter a relationship or even just reach the talking stage before a relationship, I end up missing my solitude. This is not an introvert or extrovert issue, as I have never really identified as either. I do not need to recharge. I simply enjoy doing what I want when I want and appreciate being alone. Have had many casual flings and even a friends with benefits arrangement for a while, but I avoid relationships because I do not think it is fair to a partner if I cannot spend a lot of free time with them. Unless I find a woman who enjoys solitude as much as I do, which has not happened so far. This solitude is not just about being alone for a few hours or a day. Sometimes I go weeks without talking to people. In one extreme case, I went about half a year without talking to anyone outside of work. That is just who I am. Story 23. I am not interested in jumping through hoops to meet a woman's expectations, nor do I want to take care of one. I do not want to turn my life into a giant chore. I just want peace. Story 24. I have been hurt too much by men and women alike to continue. I am tired of heartache and accusations. It is not worth the risk anymore. Story 25. 35 years old male because I choose to be. Single for 12 years now and do not have the slightest interest in women. I have a decent job, a house, and friends, so why ruin it? Story 26. While I would very much like a partner in theory, my overall experience with women makes me extremely cynical about them in the role of long-term romantic partners. I also find them difficult to deal with in early dating experiences, as they tend to take without reciprocating. For a while, I managed this by having very casual relationships with women, so at least I had some company and intimacy. But then I hit a dry spell, started getting rejected more than before, and eventually gave up. It has been quite a while since I put any real effort into meeting women. Story 27. Nobody wants me, or at least tries to know me. My last relationship hurt me badly. 2 days ago was the 3rd anniversary of my breakup. Being cheated on causes a lot of damage to your sense of self-worth and trust. I'm not what anyone wants. I tried multiple times last year, and a few of those led to someone else. The one woman I did want, were just good friends, and she's not looking. She has been very hurt, like I have been. Story 28. Juice is not worth the squeeze. I have expectations that are unrealistic, but I think they are because I am willing to meet them for my girlfriend, wife, or partner. Story 29. I have many options nowadays. It is just too much trouble. I honestly do not see the point anymore. I have been burned enough. Story 30. One of the best parts of being single is the freedom to date other people. A committed long-term relationship would be an obstacle to that. Story 31. The ex cheated on me and then filed for divorce. Most women my age are bitter, on medication, and generally unhealthy. I am also not going to be someone's retirement plan. I do not hate women. I have some great friends who are women. I just have not met someone worth putting effort into. Story 32. Because nearly every good woman gets snatched up before age 30, and whoever is left behind are the remnants of every attractive man who would not commit to them, combined with a mix of jaded, bitter, entitled, sexist, narcissistic, abusive, and every negative adjective in the dictionary. Please explain how men in their 30s are supposed to feel good and positive about dating women in their 30s when those women slept around with many men in their younger days but chastise men for wanting the same. Did not test those attractive men for a casual fling as much as they do the men they want for a relationship. No longer treat men they consider husband material as lifelong marriage material, meaning the men who got to hook up with her get a far better deal for far less effort. So yeah, that is why. Also, I watch so many men, including myself, going above and beyond for women who are essentially at the bottom of the barrel. I do not know any woman who struggles with getting dates or sex, but I know plenty of men who struggle to even get a match or first date. All women have to do is be half-decent looking. Even chubby women who have never stepped foot inside a gym have more pull than a man shorter than 6 feet tall. Do not forget women have a long list of requirements when it comes to finding Mr. Right and Mr. Right now. Yet the internet will constantly invalidate men's experiences and tell them it is their fault for not being able to attract anyone from arguably the worst generation of women to walk the earth. Story 33. I chased the wrong person for entirely too long, and dating in your late 30s is very difficult. I have been alone so long that I have grown to prefer it. Story 34. The biggest obstacles for me are my life situation and past trauma. I was assaulted in high school, which made me afraid to approach women. Even before that, girls treated me like a joke, and combined with my struggling low self-esteem, I had a hard time feeling like anyone could find me physically attractive. I am 28 years old. I cannot drive. I did not finish college. I have never worked, and I live with my mother. I have chronic health issues that have escalated. The effects of long-term anorexia mean I get tired and collapse easily and cannot handle much physical activity. I was diagnosed with obsessive-compulsive disorder, and it is severe enough that I barely leave the house because I cannot stand touching things. I have tried to get help and spent last year seeing therapists, doctors, and specialists, but none of it has helped. I was even discharged from eating disorder treatment, and I am not sure what to do anymore. With all my mental and physical health issues, I worry that most women will see it as too much baggage or be put off by my lack of income and not having my own place. As I approach my 30s, I am becoming more worried that I will never find love. I have never dated before or experienced intimacy. I want to know what a first kiss is like and to hear someone say they love me for the first time before I die. Story 35. It's me time. I speak with a few ladies on a casual basis, just investing in myself for the foreseeable future. More life, more self-love, more options. Story 36. I tried dating, but nothing worked. I am 41 now and have become lazy. I got too comfortable in my solitude. I miss it sometimes. Sometimes I need physical touch, but it always passes. The best thing to do is to keep busy. Story 37. Do we have this in the frequently asked questions? It is either single men like being single. It is hard to find an acceptable partner while maintaining minimal standards. Story 38. Personally, I chose the wrong person at the right time. Now, I am still single because I cannot honestly give a woman the time and energy she requires. To protect my peace, I am intentionally staying that way for a while. Story 39. I don't meet women because I keep to myself. I have a fear of vulnerability and a fear of commitment. I also find many women annoying and do not trust most of them. I have heard and experienced negative situations with women, making it difficult to justify relationships. Being single allows me to have complete control of my life, solitude, and finances without emotionally caring for a woman who is not capable of caring about me and is not worth the emotional effort she requires. Story 40. I doubt anyone will give this kind of answer, but some men are single because many women can easily spot their red flags. Men like that need to uplift themselves, work on themselves first, and take better care of themselves before properly entering a relationship. Story 41. Because I want a woman who wants me for who I am, not for what I can give or do for her. I want a girl who looks at me with love and affection, whose eyes always look deep into mine as if she is genuinely happy to be in my presence. A girl who will wrap her arms around my shoulders when I am having a hard day or when I just need someone right beside me. But all I get is requests like, "Can we go here next week?" Or, "Can you buy this thing for me?" When I say no to these things, they go out to a random bar, hook up with the first guy who looks in their direction, and break it off with me because the connection wasn't there. I am so tired of chasing something or someone who is not real or genuine, so I am single and will be for a long time, maybe forever. Thank you for reading my rant to the end. I just needed to get it all out. Story 42. Because being in a relationship has never made my life better, I no longer see the point in actively making my life worse. Story 43. Being single is the best. You can sleep with as many women as you want. No one complains all day, and you can pursue any hobby or activity whenever you like. It is complete freedom. Women offer very little, and you risk a lot being with them. Alimony and child support are a burden. Story 44. In my late 30s as well. A whole mess of factors. In my late 20s, I was getting out of the lifestyle of partying and so on. I had fallen into a pattern of poor short-term relationships due to my own insecurities. I wanted to break the cycle, so I decided to take some time off dating to fix myself. Then my mother passed away from brain cancer. I picked up a gambling habit to punish myself for not feeling worse about her passing. No, it doesn't make much sense to me either. My friend group shrunk further, and I started turning down invites because I couldn't afford the money. Shame prevented me from saying anything. Eventually, I kicked the gambling habit, started saving, and made progress. I focused on rebuilding my reputation in the office. Paid off, but the stress stopped me from socializing for a bit. Eventually, I realized that I had both the money and the inclination to start a social life again. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that news reports about that virus from China were a bad sign. COVID-19 hit, and that was difficult. I didn't mind the quarantine itself, but it killed what was left of my social skills. I was diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder in 2020, which wasn't much of a surprise. Since then, I've slowly completed several personal goals along the way. Several promotions, fixing my teeth, a couple of overseas holidays, and even put some savings together. However, I am not great partner material. My attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is particularly severe, which on the outside looks like laziness, a lack of consideration, self-obsession, or like I need minding. I am burned out, which makes me want to hoard my free time. I'm not making new friends, which doesn't help and is something I need to address before I start trying to date. I don't want to be anyone's bad memory, but I'm afraid that I won't meet the standards I've set for a relationship. I'm only just understanding the reasons behind most of my hang-ups and issues with trust and intimacy, so I have some therapy to do if I want to avoid repeating old mistakes. The main reason why I'm single, aside from living with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, is that I still have many things to work on and don't have the energy left to work on them. Story 45. I am not attracted to men, and women are not worth the effort. I have to carry the relationship, always putting in 80 to 90% of the effort. Misandry is common, and it is almost impossible to find a woman who actually respects men. Story 46. There are no women I am interested in dating. My life is full between friends, career, and family. Relationships have historically been disruptive to me. I am not willing to risk my happiness and balance. Story 47. Why invest in something that has negative returns? Life gives enough problems as it is. Why go out and get another one? Story 48. I don't know where it is appropriate to approach women anymore. I don't know what is appropriate to say to women anymore. Instead of helping, people just make fun of me. Story 49. Just got out of a long-term situationship, which I do not recommend. I have also been pursuing a bachelor's degree, so I think I will finish that before dating again. Story 50. I am not very dateable and do not seem to know how to date either. I think these factors have influenced each other over the years. Additionally, at this age of 37, the lack of relationship experience is a significant red flag. Story 51. I had 2 friend groups fall apart, One due to political differences, the other a long story. I was working overnight shifts and paying off my student loans. The women at work were both difficult. One cheated on her boyfriend, got stabbed by him, stayed with him, and blamed the person she cheated with. The other would cry at the slightest provocation and scream while running from one end of the building to the other. I never really had an opportunity to find someone outside of work. Finally, I got a normal shift again and have been taking care of many things I couldn't while working overnight. One of the women I work with is in a relationship, the other is gay, and I'm starting to go out and mingle again. I just haven't found the right person yet. Story 52. The only woman I ever wanted did not want me enough, so here we are. 30s look exciting though. Knock on wood. Story 53. I am an introvert, have no friends, do not drink, and live in a very quiet place. The possibility of finding a partner is almost zero for me. Story 54. It's just not worth the risk. I've been shot, run over, and experienced many other painful things, and I would go through all of that once a month rather than feel the pain and humiliation of being cheated on by someone I love. This is way too easy for anyone, especially women today. They have dating apps with countless men, and they can hit a button, and a man would be standing in front of them in 30 minutes or less. Yes, I know I am insecure. You can say whatever you want about me, but you know I am right. Story 55. I hate myself a lot. I am told you need to love yourself before you can love others, that you need to be goal-oriented, and I have zero motivation to put in all that work since I do not know if I will ever truly love myself. I have failed at nearly everything I have tried. Looking at the current situation, if I could barely get anyone in my 20s, I will never get anyone in my 30s. I have accepted that I am dying alone at this point. From what I have been told essentially everywhere, as I am unlovable, and I do not believe I have the capacity to change enough to be worthy of anyone's love. Story 56. Long rant revised. I am struggling with mental health challenges and tend to seek others like me. This often does not go well. I have had some very nice and genuinely good women interested in me, but they were not dealing with similar issues. In a way, self-inflicted. Story 57. I do not engage in activities that would lead to meeting a partner and have no interest in such activities. Story 58. Tried to repair a lot of damage that was done by a handful of ex-partners. I healed wrongly and became colder-hearted, and now I am trying to undo it. Story 59. The love of my life left me when I was 21, saying I was emotionally abusive. She ran off with another man a month later. I am 33 now, and not a single woman in all those years has approached me. From what I have seen, society has worsened over the years. I have accepted that not only do I have no chance, I am probably better off alone. But it would feel nice to be hugged again. Story 60. Realized relationships, like most external things, do not bring lasting happiness. Instead, they create attachments that lead to greater dissatisfaction and, in that way, are a trap. Story 61. Broke up with my ex because she was transphobic and I cannot be with a bigot. Now, it is because my self-esteem is low and I do not have the energy to put myself out there enough. Story 62. I do not like the people around me, and the few I do like do not reciprocate. However, I am still young and have plenty of time to find somebody. Story 63. I am a 44-year-old male who prioritizes making money, work travel, and personal travel over dating, even though I would like to find my person. Story 64. Heartbreak from betrayal. Dealing with the looming divorce and its challenges. Focusing on myself and deciding if I can trust and commit again. Story 65. Went through a relationship with someone who had borderline personality disorder, nearly ruined my life, still dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder flashbacks. Met someone else. She had no idea what she wanted. She liked me, I think. I liked her. She went off with another man, met someone else, beautiful but unfaithful. Why do I keep attracting these women? I don't know, but my heart is not open due to incredibly bad luck. Going through difficult family issues too. I have a negative attitude towards love and relationships, and it's not fun. I'm not going to date until my negative attitude towards relationships improves. I don't want to hurt someone else who also believes deeply in love. And yes, I am seeing a therapist. Story 66. No woman wants me, or at least no woman on dating applications wants me. I am too lazy to meet women any other way, so that part is probably on me. That said, I am happy alone, so it is kind of hard to want to try and find things to meet women. Story 67. 34 years old. Never been in a relationship. I have no social circle, career, property, created works, appreciable skills, dating experience, debt, baggage, history, or health issues. I would never accept a partner with this resume and don't expect anyone to accept me as I am. The saddest part is, I think this may be all I have to offer, which means I won't get a partner. It is hard to realize you feel like a loser. Part of that is how lonely it is. Story 68. I am in my 30s and have no experience with women. The odds of me changing myself to be attractive and finding someone are still low. Story 69. I promise I am not trying to be rude, but I do not find women over 30 attractive in terms of appearance. Story 70. Too tired trying to keep up with the career rat race to play the relationship rat race. Not a world worth bringing children into anyway. No hope. Story 71. I am from the United States. My selection pool of women consists of either overweight, obese or morbidly obese women, black women, and single mothers. That selection pool falls into one of these four categories. Category 1. Women I cannot be attracted to when I look at them. Category 2. Women who will contribute to increasing the population of unhealthy Americans. Category 3. Women who demand I support them with my money, time, and resources. Category 4. A mixture of the previously mentioned categories. Yes, I know some of them might have nice personalities. However, I am still not settling. My peace, time, money, and tranquility take precedence over them. If anything, I attribute these women being the majority of my options as one of the main reasons I can follow through with career ambitions. Because they are the majority of my options and I keep rejecting them, there is no family for me. It is a perpetual bachelorhood where nothing gets in my way, freeing up room for career development. I legitimately plan to either become wealthy and support attractive women or explore opportunities abroad through international relationships. Story 72. I am deeply insecure, depressed, socially anxious, and have nothing to offer. Even if I overcame my feelings long enough to consider trying, I am not going to attempt it in this highly competitive environment when I believe I am essentially an outcast. No thanks. Story 73. Because I enjoy the freedom I have right now, the simple things I have experienced lately are more than enough for me. Story 74. I did not care in my teenage years or 20s. Then, when I cared at age 30, I lost weight but did not have success. Therefore, I am done with it. Story 75. I am too much of a hassle and do not want to express that and receive rejection over it. I also do not want to hassle anybody in a relationship. Story 76. I love being single. For the record, I am single and have a couple of regular friends with benefits. I date casually but rarely and have the occasional one-night stand very rarely. Life is grand. I love single life. Story 77. A few reasons. I knew I had things to work on about myself pertaining to relationships. I am also focusing on improving my situation before I seriously pursue a relationship. I do not put myself out there because I am in a rebuilding phase of my life. Lastly, dating these days is treacherous. It is hard to find legitimate options, if you ask me. Story 78. My self-esteem when it comes to dating is quite low, and as a man, that seems to make things significantly more difficult. Story 79. The hard part is finding who is single and not coming across as a creep as a man in his 30s. However, being alone means having to find hobbies to meet people, although I would be there for the wrong reasons. Story 80. Not in the mood after my last relationship. Focusing on myself by losing weight. I should be down 100 pounds in a year soon. Story 81. I have been through hell because of my small stature. I'm a 5'1" Hispanic male. I've loved and lost. I've been invisible to most women. The women I want aren't the ones who want me, and the ones who want me aren't the ones I want. I'm fit and won't accept a woman who can't manage her health. Yes, you can. Trust me. You just have no self-control. I have been a side partner who became a father, only to find out a year later that the child wasn't mine. She cheated on me with the same man she had previously cheated on. Women come to me only when they have problems with their partners. I carry pain and betrayal from previous relationships. I wear my heart on my sleeve, care deeply, and am loyal to the one I love, but it's always the same. I end up hurt and alone. I am still searching for love at 34, hoping that one day someone will notice me for who I am, not for my stature, money, fame, material things, or what I could give her. I'm single because of all the pain and hurt. I don't want to argue. I just want peace. Honestly, that peace comes from coming home to my two sweet cats, who I love very much. They don't judge me when I walk through the door dancing like an idiot or running around the house, attempting to play tag with them. They listen and don't try to fix anything. They listen just to listen. They love me for me, which is what I so desperately need. Bro, a beaten man who still chooses love over hate. Story 82. No one has interest. For the past 20 years, I have had a phobia of women related to anything connected to me personally outside of work. Story 83. Honestly, I am single because I have had two great girlfriends in the past who really set the bar high for other women. Both relationships ended when I moved away for school and then work. Since then, I have grown to enjoy my own company and the peace that comes with it. Unless I meet someone who can add value to my life while not disturbing my peace, I will remain single. My recent experience with dating women has ended with them either showing their true colors after 3 months or me discovering they are still hung up on an ex and are just using me to fill the void. Story 84. Debt mostly. No vehicle. It broke down, and I had to sell the scrap to cover some expenses accrued by my house burning down and work slowing down over the last few months. Before all that, I was taking some time to work on myself. Probably does not help that when I did put myself out there over the last 15 years since my last serious relationship, I found only 2 interested parties, and neither was really that interested. I met plenty of women who claimed they wanted their boyfriend to be more like me, but none wanted it enough to make me their boyfriend. Story 85. Those couples that you are around who argue half the time were not always that way. From personal experience, my wife and I were the happiest couple ever for 3 or 4 years. Fast forward to the 10-year mark, we have a great life with very good careers, 2 kids, and a beautiful home. Still, when my brother, my friends, and I are all together, complaining about our wives, as a single person listening, someone might think we are miserable. It is really just our chance to vent with each other. Honestly, most of us are not that unhappy. It is just our time to talk and vent. I love my wife more than anything outside of our kids, but sometimes it is nice to complain a little to people who understand. Story 86. I am in a situation where I do not have much money. I am not saying women are gold diggers, just that I might not be in the best place to start a relationship. Story 87. Working too much to pay off debt and having little free time. I would like to date. I do go on dates, but it just gets tiring. Story 88. I loved a girl once about 8 or 9 years ago, but I could not tell her because she had a boyfriend. Took me a long time to get past her. Then, 2 years ago, I found someone else, and when I proposed to her, she politely declined. My confidence is very low now, and I do not feel like making any efforts. It is not that I am not attracted to anyone now, but I have accepted my fate. Story 89. Bit of a weird one for me. Whenever I find someone that I like, I usually become friends, so we spend time together. However, I never really managed to confess after that point because of fear of losing a friend and things becoming awkward between us. I have also thought about approaching a woman with the intent of romance directly, but the idea always felt wrong and uncomfortable. Story 90. 'Cause I am a creep, or at least I used to be. I was generally slow to develop socially, and I am afraid I might still be. To minimize the chance of making someone uncomfortable, I have ended up never talking to anyone. Combined with the fact that I am not currently working and have no social circle where I am living, I essentially never talk to anyone I might be interested in, though I am not very good at that. I have tried dating applications a few times in the past but never got anything from them. Story 91. Got divorced in 2018 for the second time. The phrase two-time loser keeps echoing in my brain. If I had fallen out of love, I could handle it. If she had stopped loving me, I could handle it. But her falling victim to a youth ruined by trauma and that preventing her from being happy is just so tragic. I don't want to do it again. The thought of vetting a woman, sense of humor, propensity for anger and jealousy, intelligence, attraction, ambition, and general drama in her life is so exhausting. I just can't find the energy to put in any effort. I'm holding on to one small glimmer of hope. I'm hoping that love will just rear its ugly head one day and knock me on my ass, that I'll meet someone new unexpectedly, and love will strike me like lightning. That's what I want. A love lightning bolt. Story 92. I do not meet many women I am interested in, and so far none of them have been interested in me. Story 93. I'm in my 30s. Almost everyone I know who is or was once married or in long-term relationships is now either in open relationships, secretly cheating, swinging with other couples, has porn addictions, rarely having sex with their partners, divorced single parents, or just unhappy but staying for the children. So I am not in a rush to get into a relationship unless the person is a very good fit for me, my values, and my goals. If I never find that person, I would rather die alone than be in any of the scenarios I mentioned above. Story 94. I was single at your age by choice and married in my mid-40s by chance. I dated plenty, but I knew that I was not done with my antics yet. My tomfoolery pretty much ran its course. Now in my 50s, I go a little crazy within set limits. Story 95. I am 26 years old. I work 2 jobs and go to school part-time. I also do not particularly enjoy going out or drinking. With these few things, I do not feel it is respectful to the woman I am trying to date to be constantly busy with work, school, or other commitments. They deserve someone more devoted to them and their time, rather than someone like me who does not have the time for them. At this point, I would rather stay single for a while. It is not that I have not looked to date people since my latest breakup, but for now, I would like to focus on myself and eventually maybe find someone. Even though I do not like being alone right now. Story 96. Because I have either missed many signals, which is possible, or there is no woman who wants me, which is more likely. Story 97. I have many physical and mental issues I need to address first. I am working on it and am much better than I was a month ago. Priorities. Story 98. I am a bisexual man not in a big city. There are few men interested in men. Women are overwhelmingly biphobic, and about 2/3 refuse to date bisexual men. Adding internalizing all the messages women have said and trusting them at their word makes it very complicated. Story 99. I work from home, and the only things I do outside are going to the gym and grocery shopping. My opportunities to meet women in person are very limited. Story 100. Oh, I've had difficult relationships with women experiencing mental illness. My last girlfriend had a psychotic episode and left the state. That was in early March, so I am still processing things. I am also in a phase of my life that is fairly transient. Maybe I will find a partner later, but it is not something I am prioritizing right now. Story 101. I don't know how one goes about getting a date or even meeting people for friendships. I only know other people have dates, friends, relationships, significant others of some kind, and in many cases families of their own, but I don't know how to make those things happen for me. I don't know where to start. People say it will come or happen when I least expect it, or when I am not looking, but that has never worked out for me. I want to make the first move, but I don't have enough information to determine where, when, or how it would be appropriate or acceptable to do so. The responses I have received when asking for help in this matter are, at best, too vague, ambiguous, oversimplified, counterintuitive, or self-contradictory to be of any actual help. I need advice that is genuine, effective, clear, not overly simplified, and actually helpful if anybody reading this has any. Story 102. Low self-esteem and working on my mental health. Also, because I am overweight, I do not think I am desirable at the moment. Story 103. I had a terrible heartbreak last year that made me decide not to date. Just recently, I thought I was healed and decided to give it another chance. No luck yet, even though I went on dates with good people. Story 104, time, energy, and money. If you want a date, you have to put yourself out there constantly. Talking to one person after another, setting up dates, trying to make conversation and create a connection. If it's not a good fit, you're back to square one. That costs time, energy, and money. Even for people who say they don't want you to spend a lot of time, energy, and money on them, it still costs you. And that is in addition to the time, energy, and money you have to spend on everything else in your life, such as your job, family, and hobbies. Then, if you get into a relationship, it requires more time, energy, and money. Planning dates, asking about their day, making sure you are emotionally available but not too much, or then it becomes trauma dumping. Meeting the parents, meeting the extended family, talking about your plans for the future, maintaining an open line of communication at all times, and so on until you either get married and continue all that for the rest of your life, or break up and return to square one. Why not just be content with myself and the simple things that bring me joy? Story 105. I hate myself. I do not see how I can manage a relationship caring for someone else when I hate myself. That being said, when someone cared for me in the past, it kickstarted a motivation to go to the gym and earn that affection. Story 106. When I was single, it was because I did not put myself out there. When your routine is to come home, spend time around the house or be isolated in nature, and go to work, no one really knows you exist. Exposure to people who might like you is needed to find a partner. Dating applications do not work for the overwhelming majority of men, and every one of us knows it, but many still try to make that their only method of putting themselves out there. The truth is, you are not getting seen. Stop using them, try attending events or participating in public hobbies, and you will have a much better experience. Story 107. Taking a break after my last relationship. Trying to accomplish some goals before I try again. Probably going to start seriously around January. Story 108. No one is interested in me romantically at the moment, which is understandable. I need to lose some weight and start putting myself out there again, but playing video games and staying inside is comfortable at the moment. Story 109. I will be 46 in a few months. I have never been on a date. I could write a novel explaining the reasons, but I am mostly resigned to it now. I would not know where or how to start at this point anyway. Story 110. In my late 30s, starting over after a car accident 4 years ago, I went back to school and am entering my senior year. I want to wait until I am settled with a job before I look for my future wife. Story 111. I gave up. Too many heartbreaks. Too many girls out there looking to take advantage instead of build a partnership. It is not worth it. Story 112. I do not put myself out there. A few false starts. People who did not like me back. The sting of unrequited love. At the moment, I do not really feel like I have much to offer another person. Story 113. At this point, I just don't think I'm good enough. I've never been great socially. I've made friends, but I struggle to form deep connections because I've been told I'm a private person and I keep things about myself to myself. I try to be nice and help out without being asked or explicitly asking if someone needs help, but I feel maybe my demeanor, poor social skills, and private style are too big of hurdles to overcome. Maybe I have to work on not being shy, silent, and private, and take some notes from my extroverted friends so people will actually like to be around me. Story 114. My grandmother died in 2018, and that was my reason for feeling this way. My mother died recently, which is my reason today. My real reason is that I cannot fit into a relationship with many women. I was born in 2000, but I grew up with progressive rock music and retro gaming, so I dislike pop music. I am somewhat conservative but also strongly pro-choice at the same time. Unfortunately, I am doomed to a life of solitude because I cannot find any woman who shares my interests. I cannot even find male friends to watch sports with. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.